Hey guys, this is Iron Maidens Heroic and BRF. This is the 3-boss fight, and it's a long fight too. You'll have a lot of low percentage wipes, and it's just the nature of it, so try and do as much research as you can before you get into this fight. Now there's 3 bosses: Admiral Garan, Enforcer Sokra, and Marek the Blooded. Admiral can't be tanked. However, if you have aggro on him as a tank, he will run to you, so you can still position him in the middle here. We do 1 stack in the middle for all melee, and we cleave down these bosses, and then our ranged have their own separate stack. And we do this because of the separate abilities these guys have, and each maiden has a set of abilities, and they gain additional abilities at 30 energy, 70 energy, and 100 energy. So let's start with Admiral Garan. Admiral Garan, he just has Iron Shot, which is just damage to random raid members, nothing major there. He has Rapid Fire, which Rapid Fire will follow a random ranged member and deal mortar damage to where they were standing. So he'll target someone on star with that, and you want to take that left towards diamond, as you see that skull just did. However, the first hit will always hit where they were standing, so the person who has it, they're going to move immediately, but the raid also just needs to edge a little right for that first hit and then get back into position, and that's just the nature of the fight. Then you have Enforcer Sokra. Enforcer Sokra, her first ability is Blade Dash. It's just chaining damage to any players that are targeted with it. It'll hit the range stack, you just kind of heal through it, nothing major. And Marek the Blooded has his major mechanic here, which you won't be able to see for a second here, but it's called Blood Ritual. And this is similar to Orgorger's Acid Maw. It targets a random raid member, and that raid member takes the squiggly line out to blue, to the right of the raid, as where Rapid Fire goes left, Blood Ritual goes right, and then it hits that player in a cone, as well as the first person hit takes a physical hit. So you want your tank who's taking Marek to take that first hit, melee to stay behind Marek, and then the range to take that to the side of the range group. That's all their abilities are during the first part. Now, every, I want to say 2 minutes, they'll hop up to the ship, the lowest health one of them will, and then there's a series of hooks to the side of the raid that you can send a group up with. You want to send one group, you want to send 6 people up. If Admiral goes up, you send an extra DPS, but if the other 2 go up, you send a tank up as well. The tank will just, there's different patterns, there's different bosses that go up there depending on which of the Iron Maidens go up there, but the basic challenge is you need to kick things, you need to move, and you need to kill the targets that are up there. I'll try and do a separate video to kind of explain those mechanics, but they're really not hard. Just make sure that once they hop up to the ship, you take your corresponding hook up there with a healer, 4 DPS, and a tank or an extra DPS, depending on who goes up. Now, when they hit 30 energy, they each gain an additional ability. Admiral Garan gains Penetrating Shot, which is a sniper shot on a random ranged member, and it penetrates anyone in between that person and Admiral. And you want it to because it does a ton of damage, but it splits all the damage depending on how many people split it with that target. You can see someone here take Blood Ritual to the side, just as a note, and Rapid Fire left. I mean, each of these mechanics has a rule of thumb. We should see 30 energy and Penetrating Shot here momentarily, but basically when you get Penetrating Shot, there it is, you want to take it behind the range group. You can also Feign Death, Penetrating Shot, Invisit, Spectral Guise it as a Shadow Priest or a Priest, so things to note there, but otherwise you take it behind the range group. If you're melee, you also take it behind the range group. That's what Admiral Garan gets. Enforcer Sokra, she gets a debuff called Convulsive Shadows, and this debuff is mostly for Mythic, but on Heroic, basically, you get 5 stacks of it, and it does damage based on how many stacks you have. If you have 5 stacks, the first hit is massive. Then it reduces its own stack to 4, and that hits slightly less. The third stack, not a big deal. If you dispel it, and it is dispellable, it does all of that damage at once. So you want to dispel it like 3 stacks, and for the 5th and 4th stack, just you know, pop a personal or put a shield on that person, and they can live through it pretty easily. That's for Sokra. Marek gains Blood-Soaked Heartseeker, and this does a ton of damage to 3 randomly chosen ranged targets based on how far away they are from each other. Make sure when you guys get that, just fan out a little bit. Someone go forward, someone go right, someone go left. Avoid the other mechanics, like if people are taking Blood Ritual out and stuff, but just get, you know, a couple yards between you guys, and you can reduce that damage significantly. Otherwise, it'll very nearly one-shot you if you guys are stacked up together. If you can't find an opportunity to move, just pop a personal, and you'll be fine. So again, here they're going to hop up to the ship, and we send our groups up. During the ship, the bosses do this bombardment pattern here, and this basically just sends a bunch of bombs down, and then these bombs explode in the order that they were dropped. So you want to go stand on the least recently or most recently dropped bomb until the previous wave explodes, and then go stand where those bombs just exploded, thereby avoiding all the damage that they do. It's kind of a tight squeeze. There's not a lot of space in between these, but once you kind of get a feel for it, it's not hard. Just look for the red animation. They kind of wiggle and glow red until they blow up, and then get to where that was, and then repeat, repeat, repeat. When you're up on the boat, once you complete your goal of killing whatever adds are up there, you'll be able to sabotage the ship by clicking on these bombs, which are circling through like a little revolver of ammo or something like that. You want to do that almost as soon as you're done up there, but you have to wait until the bombardment pattern's about finished, so that you don't get yourself, because it's like a 5-second cast, so that you don't port yourself back into a bombardment pattern and take some bombs. So just kind of communicate with your raid, just be like, hey, when should we hit this? You can time it when all the bombs have hit and one wave is about to explode. That's when you should start sabotaging. Soon here we'll get the 70 energy, but nothing really changes at 70 energy. You get a couple things. The big thing here, guys, is these don't have a shared health pool. You need to manually keep these things close in percentages. You can control which ones go up, but the same Iron Maiden will never go up to the ship twice in a row. So you can't just send Admiral up every time or anything like that. But you can, neglect one of them. You can go like Admiral Sokra if you don't like one of the boat's mechanics or find it harder than the others. So that's something to note, but just keep these close in percentages, and once they're all sub 25%, if they're all sub 25% within 10 seconds of going up to the ship, they don't seem to go up again. We've had some inconsistency with it, but that seems to be about the threshold. So if they do go up to the ship and they're sub 25%, you need to call for a stop DPS raid wide and wait for the ship to finish before you burn. Here they are. I think they just hit 70 energy here. 70 energy, Admiral Garon gains... Oh, you know what though? No, that's wrong. They don't actually gain an ability at 70 energy. That's whatever. They gain an ability at 100 energy. Now, the moment one of them hits 20%, they all go to 100 energy, and that's the trick of the fight. You need to... So here we have someone go up, and we need to stop DPS until that boat's finished. But when they hit 20%, the fight goes completely haywire, and it's a burn. It's a single target burn at that point. Admiral Garon gets deploy turret. He will run to a random place in the room and place a turret on the ground, which rotates and spits fire or fireballs out. And these can be dodged pretty easily, but if they hit you, they leave a dot on you, and that can be a lot of extra healing. If they're in melee can rotate around it and kind of kill the turret, but it's really important you avoid those cannons. And if you take a stack, pop a personal. You can kill these you can either do Admiral first or Marek first. Sokra is pretty much last in every strat for this fight. But the big thing is you want to stop AoE and you want to do a full single target burn. This is where you're going to pop Heroism 2. You don't want Heroism at the beginning, you want to backload it. And then, yeah, once they hit 20%, it's just no holds barred, it's burn. You just want to kill them as fast as possible. During this time, you'll still be getting Penetrating Shot, Bloodsucked Heartseeker, and Convulsive Shadow, so watch out for that. The ability that Sokra gains at 20% is called Dark Hunt, which basically she gazes on a player for 8 seconds, after which she teleports to the player and inflicts just a ton of physical damage. I think 200k base on Heroic, but it gets increased via another mechanic I'll explain in a moment. And Marek gains Sanguine Strikes, which basically, every time he auto-attacks, he does a portion of that damage to the entire raid based on how much the tank mitigated. So that's why he's usually a kill target, because he does a lot of raid damage. But there's a turret that spawns over there in the corner. We have some melee run over and start damaging it down. If it's out of range of the range, then melee need to kill it. Otherwise, let range just dot it up and kill it and let melee stay on the bosses. We kill Marek first here, and that's just to reduce the raid-wide damage that he does, because it is quite a bit. And then we kill Admiral second. I would recommend killing Admiral first, just to get rid of those turrets. It's a lot of extra movement in the fight, and mechanically it makes it kind of hectic for people. So I would kill, at least for your first kill Admiral first, single target him down. But the big thing is you want them all near 20% so that the burn is as easy as possible for any of them. Throughout this whole phase, every 20 seconds, they will gain a stacking 10% damage buff, increasing their damage done by 10%. Period. That's how it goes. So that's why Sanguine Strikes from Sokra, or Dark Hunt rather, becomes so dangerous, and it'll one-shot you if you don't have a personal. Mark the Blooded, his auto attack raid damage starts hitting for a lot, and Penetrating Shot from Admiral Garon can really add a ton of raid damage. If you have the boss is really low, and say you have a lot of range dead or things like that, if you get Penetrating at a certain point, just take it yourself and get yourself killed. Judgment call, wait for your raid leaders to say something, but that's a really effective way to secure that kill. So here we are, we're just killing Admiral now. Raid damage went down a ton the moment that Marek died, but keep in mind everything they do does extra damage here. So if you take any ticks of Rapid Fire, if you don't spread out for Blood-Soaked Heartseeker, if you don't soak the aim with the rest of the raid, things like that, or Sanguine or Blood Ritual, if you don't take that out, or if you don't pop a personal with it, these things can kill you really easily. But the moment you kill one of these maidens, the rest of the fight becomes much, much easier. The big thing, guys, is just focus on mechanics, keep yourself alive, keep your damage high, and this will drop fairly quickly. But that's the whole fight. The Dreadnought, the ship, is its own mechanics, but the basics of it is there's three different kinds. There's Blackrock Deckhand, which spawns a Battle Medic and Uktar, and the Battle Medic just casts a shield, you kick it, but you only have to kill Uktar in order to be able to sabotage. The other one is Shattered Hand Deckhand, which spawns Gorak, who you just want to burn, and Iron Eviscerators, which will fixate on random players and try and kill them. Kite them, kill him. And the last one is the Bleeding Hollow Deckhand, which spawns Ukarung, and you just, every time he attacks, he leaves a pool of blood under every player's foot, and you just move every time that he auto-attacks down the whole way, down the whole ship until he's dead, and then you sabotage. But that's the fight, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll try and get a follow-up video for the ship next week, and I'll make myself go up.